Hey everybody, welcome to WeAD Podcast. We have an amazing guest today, all the way from England, but partially Aussie as well, kinda, right?
No,
At all?
no, not at all. Maybe there's a twang in my accent that yeah, but no, definitely, yeah,
Pure,
no,
pure British, yeah.
yeah, pure
Okay,
breed.
that's nice. Okay, so this is Danny. You have an amazing platform. It's a trading platform, right? And it's called Foxify. Can you kind of tell our viewers what it's about?
Yeah, so Foxify is kind of two things actually. It's a perpetuals DEX, so a decentralized trading platform where you don't have to give over custody of your funds when you use the platform, which is a good alternative to centralized platforms where you have to hand over your money and trust someone else with your funds. And also it's the first Web3 prop trading application. And people don't know what prop trading is. It's when you're able to retail prop trading. Typically you trade and you do an evaluation and you prove that you can reach a certain level of attainment trading, and then you get access to funds to trade with and then get to keep a share of the profits that you generate. So it's an opportunity for somebody to trade on the platform, qualify for funding, we call it funded, by trading on the platform. But it's very unique because nobody's got prop trading within Web3 so far. We're the first to market. So it's the only perpetuals DEX where you can just go and trade. You don't have to pay you have to use your own funds to qualify, but you don't have to pay like a fee as such. And just by performing on the platform, you get to multiply your capital in a really short space of time. So actually, you start with $400. You turn $400 into $2,400 in 7 days. So you can 6x your collateral in 7 days. And if you continue performing over 42 days, in 42 days, actually, you can 25x your trading collateral just by continuing to perform.
That's so cool. Okay, so there's some parts that I myself was very interested in before you told me about Foxify, which was about P2P options and perpetual trading. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we kind of on V2 of the platform actually. So perpetuals is the kind of futures type trading that people are much more comfortable with. You can trade a number of different pairs from blue chips, down to some meme tokens as well, and altcoins. And ultimately you can trade with leverage, right? So you're able to take a position. Now leverage increases your risk, but also it increases your opportunity in terms of what you can make from a trade. In terms of peer-to-peer options, so that's something that we're going to bring back to the platform at a later date. But that was a unique proposition that we designed actually, where somebody is able to sell an option at a fixed return based on a certain outcome. So I could say, for instance, if Bitcoin is up 0.1% in the next hour, then I will double your money. And so Ken could come along and buy some of my option, and if it happens, he will win some of the liquidity that I risk by selling the option. And if it doesn't happen, then obviously Ken's going to be unsuccessful, and I will accumulate liquidity as the seller of the option. So that's something I haven't spoken about for a while actually, because we haven't had it on the platform for some months. Our focus at the moment is very much the perpetuals platform, which V2 has been live since March. I think we've just ticked over about 120 million in trading volume. And the funded platform, where the first time in Web3 somebody can trade on the platform and multiply their trading collateral just by performing.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I know it's like that's not the thing that you focused on, but it allows users to be makers or takers, and they can customize their trading experience. All right, now the next question. Tell me about the high leverage system. How does that work?
Yeah, so the way leverage works, if somebody's completely new to trading, say for instance I want to go long on Bitcoin and I only have $100, right? But I would like to take a much larger position. If I took 50x leverage, then I'm effectively borrowing 50 times my collateral from the liquidity pool, and so 50 times 100, 5,000. So now that allows me to open up a position that's $5,000 rather than a position that's just $100 if I didn't have any leverage whatsoever. Now that also means that your ability to be liquidated. And trading requires education, discipline. So there is always risk with trading. Your ability to be liquidated, whereby you could lose your $100, is expanded by the amount of leverage that you're using. But at the same time, say for instance Bitcoin moved even 1% and I'm using 50 times leverage, in fact I would make about 50, it's not exactly, but it's about 50% I would make on my $100, whereas I would need the market to move 50% to turn $100 into 150 without any leverage. So this is before fees. So that's the way leverage works. It's a double-edged sword. It allows you, you could plus 50% your trading collateral in a 1% move on the market, but also you could minus 50% your trading collateral in a 1% move against you as well. So risk and reward is always paired, and that's in a nutshell how leverage works.
Yes, I mean, wow, 50x, man, that's pretty cool. It seems to me that you made your platform so that it's catered for easy user experience, right?
Correct.
Could you explain a little bit about that for our users?
Yeah, so the user experience of our platform, go on to foxify.trade now. It's very simple to follow. I think I think there are maybe even simpler platforms. I'd say that I think it's presented very well, but at the same time we want it to be as intuitive as possible, right? There's nothing worse, and I'm sure we've all been here, especially in crypto, where you try and use an application and you're bamboozled by the complexity on the platform, the things that are going on visually, and sometimes you lose money or you win money and you don't even really know how you did it. I'm sure we've all been there, certainly around trading platforms. So we want people to land on the platform. We want it to be very intuitive, and we want, there's no point in talking about education and making it hard just to use the application. So it's very intuitive in terms of the way it works. The way funded works also is a very simple model. Rather than sort of huge amounts of complexity, all you do is you fund your account with $400, you begin trading on the platform, and then you have to hit very clear KPIs and a target over 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, either you're going to be rejected from qualification because you didn't perform or meet the KPIs, or you're going to be approved to go up to a funded level, and then you receive thousands of dollars into your funded account, which then you can trade with, and you get to keep 80% of the profits you generate. So very simple process, very easy to understand. Remember, we're competing on one side with perpetuals dexes, and none of them offer this, right? All of them, DYDX, GMX, you name it. There isn't a single platform out there that will multiply your trading collateral just by you performing on the platform. But then on the other side, we've also got prop trading, which is purely a Web 2 industry at the moment, where we're competing on that side also. So it's really important we make it as simple as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so another one that I felt that was very interesting, the staking and the tokenomics. Can you explain a little bit about, like, you have like multiple staking pools program or something like that? How does that work?
Yeah. So look, I think in terms of tokenomics, to head that off first, I think if you look at the typical release schedule of tokens certainly for perpetuals platforms, it's not unusual to see the supply, the circulating supply, sometimes even 10xing over the lifetime of their release schedules. And we've always been, as a team, we've always been very passionate about deflation, and what we want is for people to have a token that's going to dwindle in supply over time. So we have a fixed maximum supply. We don't have any ability to mint any new tokens. There is no long-term release schedule. A bit like, I think yesterday there was a significant release on a major altcoin, and it creates a lot of doom and gloom. Actually, what we're trying to do with our tokenomics is systematically reduce the number of tokens that are in supply, and ultimately we want to grow our revenues, which increases the amount of buybacks of those tokens as well. So there's two staking pools. You earn from the staking pools in the native token, which is Fox, but all of those rewards come from revenue that's generated from the platform. So it's coming from real revenue. So 30% of all of the trading fees on the platform are used to a bot automatically buys tokens off of the platform, which is injecting liquidity into the value of the token from the trading fees. and then those tokens are distributed to the 2 staking pools. You have one staking pool where it's super flexible. You can go in and out. There's no fees. There's no lockup. And then you've got what we call EB Fox, which stands for Earn and Burn Fox, and that has quite high fees. But 100% of those fees are split across burning and distributing to people that are already in the pool. So if you join that pool, you almost pay like a fee to everybody else that's already in the pool. And if you leave the pool, so say you say, right, I want to sell all of my Fox tokens, you pay a fee and you burn some tokens to leave the pool also. So that's why it's called EB Fox, because it's every movement in and out of that pool is earning and burning. And we also use income from liquidity on the platform to do buybacks, and then we inject those buybacks into the EB Fox pool. So it's got it has the same sort of revenue stream, if you like, as the standard pool, but then in addition to it, it also earns every time someone goes in and out of the pool, and we also do buybacks and inject those buybacks specifically into that pool. So it has sort of 3 revenue streams versus the one. If you're looking to stake and hold Fox tokens long term, then you'll get the best return on investment in that pool.
That's amazing, man. That's like, how did you come up with this idea though? What sparked this idea in the beginning?
That's a good question. I think there are flaws in the way liquidity pools work and typical tokenomics work, right? And just without being too technical, if you look at the sort of the ratio shift, if you get a lot of buys into an LP, and then the impact it can have on a few people leaving, and ultimately what we're trying to do with the EB Fox pool is try and create a scenario where there is a value exchange. There is greater value for you being in there long term, but at the same time, there's some protection of that value for the people that are really in there long term. So if somebody comes in there to get rewards because rewards are high and then they leave very quickly, actually it would be very inefficient for them, and they'll pay lots of rewards to everybody else. Now actually the person that's holding longer term has an advantage in that scenario over the short term speculator. So we're just trying to sort of even the playing field a little bit with the tokenomics.
That's really, really cool, man. So anyway, so the other thing that I want to know is about the funded program. What is this? What is this? This is totally something, I don't know. You can trade up to $250,000.
Yeah.
Dollars. I mean, how does it work, man?
Yeah, so funded is, if you think of it as 2 applications that are kind of integrated with each other. You have the Perpetuals platform, and then you have the funded app. And now if I have some funds, but I think actually I'm a decent trader and I would like to qualify to get access to more money to trade with and then keep most of the profits that I generate, funded allows you to do that. So I literally, as I described before, I just go and trade on the platform. I create a funded account. I then trade on the Perpetuals platform. And then at the end of the 7 days, if I performed, then I get access from what we call the funded vault. I get access to more capital from the funded vault. Now I can't withdraw that and run away, right? There has to be some protection there for the business, but I can trade up to half of my starting collateral that I get from the vault at 50x leverage, and that scales very quickly. As I said, you can go from maximum trade size at the first funded level. Maximum trade size, to get my numbers right, is $50,000, because you can put maximum $1,000 in the trade with 50x leverage. But within a very short time frame, actually, you can get that up to $250,000 maximum trade. So it's it's a very unique system. It basically allows you as a trader.
Unique. Sorry, it's extremely unique.
There's a simple, ultimately the way we see it is, with funded launched, why would, even you can, if you were going to go and trade Bitcoin now, why would you trade on any other platform again? Because you can lose on any trading platform. There is risk in trading. Exactly. But with funded, if you perform, you get access to more capital.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So another one, you guys recently merged with PalmSwap, another decentralized trading platform, right? You guys are now doing things together. How does PalmSwap come into the play here?
Yeah, so PalmSwap, I suppose, has effectively been absorbed by Foxify. PalmSwap was the first perpetuals DEX on BNB chain, I believe,
Mhm.
that launched back in 22, yeah. And ultimately, I think why does any sort of, I suppose, merge in a traditional sense? Why does it happen? It's because you have different strengths as an organization, and you see there's a 2 + 2 = 10. And we took the strategic decision to rebuild our platform, but also we also saw that we wanted to acquire more resources on the engineering side, and we've got a very ambitious roadmap, very ambitious plan. And yeah, so we one thing that PalmSwap as an organization definitely had in abundance was lots of internal development resource with lots of experience with perpetuals dexes. And we were keen to take on those expertise and the technology that they had already built, and then merge that technology with our own IP, which is the funded platform. And we could really see value in combining the two of those together.
Mhm. I think this business platform will be extremely popular in Singapore because that's like the trading hub of everything. I mean, if this gets out over there, I think you find big players who would like to be part of your ecosystem as well. I think I want to go with the next questions, okay? But it's more related to you. Are you the only Are you the founder? Do you have like co-founder or anybody else? You
Yeah.
purely just made everything on your own. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, so I'm, for all intents and purposes, not into giving myself big flashy titles, but I'm the CEO and the primary founder of the business. We've got quite a big team actually. We've got quite a robust development team, and then we've got the community team and operations and so on. So, but yeah, it's ultimately my responsibility to lead the business from the front.
Cool, man. Wow. So basically you start everything and then you set up the whole company, you set up the team with all the ideas, you make it happen, right? So how would you describe your leadership style? A lot of young entrepreneurs might look
Yeah.
up to you and want to be a trader and wants to make their own platform like you. Yeah.
How would I describe my leadership style? I think, I'm somebody who is very keen to see success,
Mhm.
and actually, for me, probably the single biggest driver for me is seeing success for people within the team, and seeing success for our backers and our investors and people that have supported us as well. And that's ultimately what we get up for in the morning. I think I'd say my leadership style is one that is very hands-on. So I'm in the detail of pretty much everything, and like to understand. Very hands-on. I'm not kind of a standoff and kind of turn up if there's a crisis. I'm very much in the mix all of the time. I'd say it probably, being open, I think I'm probably a little bit difficult at times. I think I'm high expectations, can be quite demanding. But also open to feedback and pushback from people as well. So I like an environment where people are very open and honest. I think it's really important that if people don't see things the same way, or there's not alignment, that they talk to each other about it, or as a team you all talk together openly, rather than you don't resolve anything, as they say, at the water cooler, bitching about it. At the end of the day, you resolve it by just being completely open and direct and giving feedback, because quite often it's the 6 and the 9. People see they're seeing the same thing from a different angle, and you just have to find that sort of alignment.
Speaking from my experience, I think you're very down to earth. But I can see that you're also very hands-on. You're very meticulous with your whole business concept and your business that you're making. I can see that you got it all planned out in your head already. And if anything happens, you're ready, right? Ready to jump in, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Yeah. All right. So the next question is, what inspired you to become a CEO, and what are the most rewarding experiences or aspects of the role?
Yeah, good question. I think, look, ultimately, I think you know, do many people who leave businesses sit there and think that or did they sit there and think that they wanted to be a CEO? I think if you did, I think you probably shouldn't be a CEO, if I'm brutally honest. If your ambition is to have, you know, a parking space with your job title on it, then you probably shouldn't be a CEO. It's not for you, right? Work for a corporate company and climb the ladder. I think I think most people, you know, end up leading a business or being a CEO because they have an idea and they have an idea and they're passionate about turning that idea into reality, and that comes with, you know, often a lot of personal risk for those individuals. It comes with, you know, a lot, you know, difficult days at times, and but ultimately the, you know, the satisfaction of turning their idea in reality into a reality and seeing that become a success is always the driver. I think probably when I started my first Web3 business, I was actually in a very comfortable place from a career point of view, extremely comfortable, and work, you know, in a small business, and, you know, it's high pressure sometimes, but certainly in terms of personal circumstances, very, very comfortable, and, you know, in a position where we'd perform very well. So but, you know, that draw of, you know, you have an idea, you think you can do something a bit different and maybe change the world a little bit, you know, even if it's a tiny part of the world. I think, you know, if you're somebody who wants to lead a business and they're the things that are driving you, then because they're the things that are going to get you through the very difficult days, right? Because you have that vision. If your ambition is for, you know, if your ambition first and foremost is for material things or status, and then I think they're things that have, you can't rely on those things to get you through difficult times, unfortunately.
Right on. So, Mike, so there's big news happening right now. I don't know if you're interested in finance. I don't know if you're interested in politics, you know, but what's your take on the market right now? You know, it's very volatile. We have, you know, geopolitical crisis in Asia with China, then you have Europe, and then you have Russia, Putin, and then you have Trump. I don't know what's going on. Is he the nominee? Is he the nominee? What's your take?
Well, look, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think it's very subjective. The world's obviously, I think, you know, it's difficult because I think intuitively I want to say the world's a difficult place, but if I really stand back from the world and really think about it, I think it's probably been easier. Life has been easier than it's ever been in the history of humankind, and I think that's the paradox that I think we're living in modern society. And I think probably social media, I think society, I think the internet, all of those things, I think have a dark side, if I'm honest. And so I think, my view is we live in this paradox. And even myself, I was, you know, I almost said the words, we live in difficult times, when actually I feel like we live in difficult times, but I don't think we live in difficult times. And I think that's probably that probably sums up how a lot of the developed world feels, if I'm completely honest at the moment.
Very positive set of, you know, words that you just said. Very positive. And it's true. When I think about it, you just like, yes, everybody's like, oh, we're in trouble, we're in crisis, there's a depression going on. Yeah, maybe there are people who are really suffering, but when you compare it to 100 years ago, where they couldn't even light a fire properly at night, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's maybe I think when we don't have to fight for our survival as a human race, that's when we fight about everything else. And I think we've I think, you know, it's interesting you use the word crisis when you talk about Asian countries, because from where I'm from where I stand, you know, I look up to Asian countries and I think, but that's the future. I think, you know, people that work for us in Asian countries, you know, have a really strong, the impression that I have is a very, very strong respect for core values around education, family, And if anything, I'd say probably a step ahead of much of the West. And we, I think much of what's happening in modern society today is just a reflection of maybe it's been too easy for too long.
You seem quite Asian, honestly. You have like I can feel that you have strong moral values. I can see that in you already just by talking like that. I can feel that you're a man of responsibility. You're down to earth, and you're also very morally upright. So here's the thing that I want to ask: if you look at the situation in America, like they're talking about ridiculous things, like about calling names with pronouns, and you have all this ridiculous debates about things that they don't need to debate about. I think there are bigger issues that they should be solving, not those kind of things.
I think it's a tough one, isn't it? And I think there's such a fine line between free will and then trying to, it suddenly turns into trying to force your will onto somebody else. And I think liberalism has been hijacked, if I'm honest, because am I a liberal? I'm very liberal, actually. I really want people to find their own path and make their own choices, and not and to be free, right? That's what liberty means. I think in many, it's very difficult for me to probably share an opinion without offending anybody, but I think I don't know. I don't mind saying something, but I think if you look at the US and I think is probably, I think, if you look at the political system within the US and certainly within Western society, I think the problem is, as human beings, is we want things to be binary, right? We watch too much Star Wars. We think the world is good and evil, and there is one side or the other. And we always think that we're on the good side and the other side is evil. And that is just our intrinsic tribal human behavior, and probably the reason why the human race is even here, right? It's a really, really powerful thing. Whereas the world isn't really like that. It's quite a bit grey, and people aren't ready for that. And I think probably something quite controversial would be that actually a good example would be there's many autocracies in the world, and in the West we want to talk about working conditions, or say for instance the use of migrant workers in say the Middle East, and make a lot of noise about those things. But of course every system has areas where it could probably improve, but also there's many problems that you don't have in an autocracy. Xi or Putin doesn't have to spend 75% of their time thinking about infighting and what the next person's going to say in the press about them, and so I think every system has positives and negatives, and I don't know how we snap out of it as a society, if I'm completely honest. And if I think about Asia, I think it's going through a generational change, and I think it's probably in its spring at the moment. But you fast forward a couple of generations, Ken, you'll be a super successful entrepreneur. You'll raise some children. You give them everything, and your children will become lazy, and we'll just keep, and it's Rome all over again, right?
Yeah, I mean what you just said, the whole thing you said, is very powerful. The message was very powerful and very insightful. And like you just said, the children nowadays are lazy, right? What do you think is going to happen with the next, the new generation, Gen Z?
I think there's an irony in that, right? And there's I debate this with my partner all of the time, because, we talk about, I don't believe in Gen Z and Gen X and all of those things. I don't believe in it, because if you're going, so in a time when we're trying to say stop judging somebody by their gender and their race, if you go down the line through the different certain generations, the people that talk most about those divisions of generations are the ones that are youngest. Now, the people that talk most about the fact that we need to stamp out racism, sexism, and all of these horrible things that seem to be holding us all back, if you believe the rhetoric, right? Those very same generations are the ones that talk about grouping people by what year you were born, and then creating divisions and competition when actually, you know, some people are very mature, some people are very immature, some people have certain tastes, and so the irony is that I think there's a hypocrisy there, that I think even talking about these groups of generations and then trying to categorize the behaviors and the futures and the pros and the cons based on, you know, a period of time when somebody was born in, I think is that not displaying the type of behavior that we say we're trying to stamp out, right?
Exactly.
Based, you know, if I want to judge somebody based on where they're born, or you know what their gender is and so on. So I find it all, you know, it's I think there's an irony in the quite often the people that are radical about trying to change the world are often displaying acutely the behaviors that they claim to be trying to stamp out.
Yeah, I can see that you put a lot of thought in this one, huh? Or already before. And you're probably thinking about it, and you're probably trying to find a solution about it too. I ask you one very important question: where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. That's a good question. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I definitely don't think I have 10 years of this in me. If I'm brutally honest, you know, I'm now 40 years old, and you know, somebody only has so much energy in the tank, and you know, I'm always looking for learning experiences. So I think 5 to 10 years is, if I'm brutally honest, I can't answer the question because I'm not really focused on that right now. I'm focused on the next 2 years really. And one thing that my much longer life than you've had has taught me is that you will have a much better view of what to do next in 2 years than you will have now. Do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Me, I don't know. I'm very interested in politics. You know,
Interesting.
So yeah. So for me, yes, I'm an Australian, right? I want to go back to Australia and run for politics later, and put a bit of tech into the government. Man, Australia is kind of slow in a lot of things, but they're getting better for sure. But they're kind of slow compared to other countries. So I want to So last question for today. Okay, this could be I don't know, difficult, but so after getting married, are you happy with it? Because all entrepreneurs, bro, you gotta understand, all entrepreneurs, they're very busy, right? Sometimes they don't have time for family or their wife, and sometimes their wife, you don't listen to them. To be honest, my wife beat the crap out of me if I don't spend time with her. So I want to get to work, but I can't. So what's your take on that?
I think where I have technically not married, but we have young children, 3 and 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Business to run, and a lot of responsibility on our shoulders, and I think that's tough. And I think in one thing, maybe, and I'm not saying that I have an issue with it, but it's more so an observation. I think if you look at the way the world is now versus maybe 30 years ago, and how clear people's roles are, I think maybe 30 years ago, sort of roles within a family were much more clearly defined, and now the lines are much more blurred. And I think actually that creates pressure on both sides. I think if you look at, say, I know there's a million other genders, but I'll just pick 2 for this example. And so if you look at the man's role, the man, if they see themselves in this light, to provide, to be a leader of the family, all of those things, and but then they have to take responsibility for lots of other things because the lines have become blurred. And then I think for women, in a traditional sense, I think it's tough as well, because there's expectations on them to be equal in many other ways, when actually, as 2 human beings, whether you're boy, girl, or whatever, you know, maybe you want one of you to take the lead on one area, and you want the other one to take the lead on another area, and to have very clear focus on your particular role. So I think modern families, I think it's really challenging, I think, for both sides, I think, because of that. Yeah, so it's an odd one, because I live in a world where we're heavily, you know, we don't spend a lot of time to probably think about ourselves so much at the moment. And yeah, but we look forward to that time again in the future.
Yeah, thanks for that amazing answer, man. Yeah, I can feel that you really do care for your wife. I mean, not wife, but the spouse that you're with.
Yeah.
And yeah. So when are you coming to Asia? When are you gonna spread this amazing business to Asia?
Good question. Good question. I think look, ultimately, I think one thing that we need to do is build a strategy for Asia, and we need the right partners to do that, as we've spoken about before, Kenneth. And yeah, so we're looking for the right partners in Asia that we can work with. And if anyone was watching this and they think, you know what, you know, Foxify and Funded is really a unique platform, I think it could, you know, have a lot of legs in Asia, and it's something that I'd be interested in contributing to, then we'd love to talk to them, because I do think there's a strong product cultural fit with what we're building. I think we just need to build the right partners to sort of open up that market.
Cool. Okay, everybody, this is Danny from Foxify. Amazing insights, amazing talk today. It was fun. Anything else you want to say to the viewers?
No, just get to foxify.trade, trade on the platform, learn about Funded, and enjoy yourself.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks for your time. And guys, just go to his website. His channel is all on the YouTube, on the descriptions and everything. So go inside, check it out. So thank you, Danny. Thank you for your time.